This is the Chery Tiggo 2. It's a subcompact crossover that sells between 690,000 pesos to 770,000 pesos. And it has a 10-year, 1 million kilometer warranty. How does it compare to other subcompact crossovers like the Geely Coolray and the Ford Ecosport? Let's find out. Exterior. The Chery Tiggo 2 is slightly larger than the Ecosport, and it's slightly smaller than the Geely Coolray. I think it's a pretty attractive looking crossover, especially in bright pastel colors like this. It looks young and sporty. The front looks more simple and minimalistic than its bigger brothers, the Tiggo 8 and the Tiggo 5X. There's actually very little family resemblance. You have this much simpler looking grille. It has projector headlights with daytime running lights. You have Tiggo badging on the headlights, which is a pretty nice little detail. Over here you have fake air vents with chrome accents. These are actually the daytime running lights. You have what looks like a skid plate here, but this is made of plastic. You got 16-inch wheels, which are a pretty good size for the car. I actually thought that they were 17s at first because they fill the wheel well pretty nicely. You got 4-wheel disc brakes and you got long tires. It has these fake air vents on the front fenders. If you're gonna put fake air vents on a car, this isn't the worst place to put it. Most cars have fake air vents anyway, and as far as fake air vents go, I'd say this looks pretty good. One quirk is that it takes a bit of effort to open the rear doors. Not a lot of effort, but a bit more effort than the front doors. Then you got these LED taillights, and you have this chrome strip connecting the two taillights. At the back you have reflectors, you have this fake skid plate, and these are your proximity sensors. You have this well-defined upswept shoulder line, which gives the Tiggo 2 a more sporty and aggressive look. You have these flat black plastic moldings on the lower part of the vehicle and on the fenders. They make the fenders look wider and more beefy, and they make the Tiggo 2 look more rugged. Overall, like I said, it's a pretty good looking crossover. It's a safe design. It doesn't push the design envelope too much. It's not too aggressive, but it doesn't look boring either. Okay, so this is the interior of the Chery Tiggo 2. Now, as you'd expect from a car in this price bracket, you have plenty of hard plastics, but everything feels sturdy, nothing really feels cheap, and nothing creaks when you push on it. You have this full carbon fiber accent over here, which I guess adds a bit of detail to the interior, but can't really say that I'm a fan of it. You also get a lot of chrome and aluminum looking accents. I'm not sure if this is real aluminum, but it looks real and it feels real. You get full leather seats with orange stitching, which coincidentally is the same color as the car's exterior. I'm not sure if all Tiggo 2s are color matched like this, but this one is. The steering wheel is covered in faux leather. The Tiggo 2 has cruise control, which you can control using these buttons. You also have buttons here for your infotainment screen. The Tiggo 2 has an analog speedometer, an analog tachometer, Over here you have a digital screen which shows you your fuel, your temperature, and information like your mileage, your fuel consumption. You get single zone climate control with manual controls. You have a USB port over here and a 12-volt outlet, and you have two cup holders here which are pretty small. The one minor complaint is that it doesn't have a center armrest. You get a regular parking brake, which I don't really mind. I actually prefer this over electronic parking brakes. You don't get a push to start button. You have to put the key in the keyhole manually. Okay, so I'm at the back seat now. The headroom is pretty good. I have about this much headroom. I'm guessing that's about 3 inches. You don't get a lot of toys here. You don't have air vents, you don't have USB ports, you don't have 12-volt outlets, and you don't even get a center armrest. But for this price, I'd say that's forgivable. 5 years ago, getting leather seats, even full leather seats on a crossover that sells for less than 1 million, seemed impossible. Part of the reason why it was impossible was that you couldn't even buy crossovers for less than 1 million back then. But now, not only can we buy crossovers at less than 1 million, we also get features that we only used to expect on more expensive vehicles. And we have Chinese brands like Geely, Chery, and MG to thank for that. The Tiggo 2 has cruise control. It has an 8-inch screen with phone mirroring. It has rear parking sensors. It has a rear view camera, but more impressively, you also get active guidelines. It has steering wheel audio controls. It has faux leather seats. It has LED taillights and LED daytime running lights. For its price of less than 800,000 pesos, that's a pretty impressive list. So you have pretty decent storage over here. You don't get any 12-volt outlets though. Underneath you have your spare tire and your tools. The Tiggo 2 is powered by a 1.5-liter 4-cylinder naturally aspirated gasoline engine. It produces 106 horsepower at 6,000 RPM and 135 Newton meters of torque at 2,700 RPM. Those numbers are pretty low, but the Tiggo 2 is also a pretty small and light crossover, so it doesn't really feel that underpowered. The engine is coupled to a 4-speed automatic. Okay, so the Tiggo 2 has two driving modes. You have Sport and Eco. And it took me a while to figure out how to switch from Sport to Eco. Apparently there's a button over here that's almost hidden. In Sport mode you get a bit more throttle response. So quite a bit of engine noise enters the cabin. It's not bad. I mean, for a crossover in this price bracket, it's expected, I guess. Okay, so currently I'm doing about 5.2, or so currently I'm doing about 3.3 liters per 100 kilometers, which would be pretty good. My foot is just slightly touching the throttle. Let's see how it does when I'm accelerating. Okay, with light acceleration I get about 11 liters per 100 kilometers. Now it's full throttle. Can't really say that it's fast, but I think it's fast enough for most people. So we're now in heavy traffic, as you can see. It says 20 liters per 100 kilometers, which would be around 5 kpl. 102 horsepower may not seem like a lot, but it feels enough for the Tiggo 2. Coming from a dead stop, it reacts a bit faster than its bigger brother, the Tiggo 8, but once it gets going, it is not as fast as its turbocharged bigger sibling. There's a bit of a shudder that happens at idle when the air compressor turns on, but it's not that bad. I've tested the Tiggo 8 on uphill ramps, and I never felt like I was lacking power. Going uphill? Okay, so this is the Tiggo 2 going uphill, and from a complete stop. The Tiggo 2 suspension is very soft, and as a result, ride quality is pretty good. In fact, this might be the softest riding crossover that I've test driven so far. For those who are after comfort, this is a plus. But having a soft suspension also has drawbacks. The Tiggo 8 tends to be wallowy in the corners. If you're into spirited driving, if you like driving in the twisties, then the suspension might be a letdown for you. But then again, if you're looking for a canyon carver, you probably should be looking for a sports sedan and not a subcompact crossover. If ride comfort is what you're after, then the Tiggo 2 will deliver. At its price range of 695,000 pesos to 770,000 pesos, the Tiggo 2 is significantly less expensive than any Japanese or Korean crossover. And it's also significantly cheaper than other Chinese brands like Geely and MG. It's even cheaper than entry-level sedans like the Vios. Its closest competitor in terms of price and features would be the MG ZS. The MG ZS and the Tiggo 2 have similar specs. They both have 1.5-liter engines coupled to 4-speed automatics. They both have cruise control. The advantage of the MG ZS Alpha is that it has a panoramic sunroof, but it's more than 220,000 pesos more expensive, and even the cheapest automatic variant of the ZS is still more expensive by almost 100,000 pesos. Geely Coolray. Both the Coolray and the Tiggo 2 are subcompact crossovers, but they're competing in different price brackets. The Coolray has more features. It has lane keep assist, it has automated parking, it has a 360 camera, it has a panoramic sunroof, and it has a much nicer interior. But given the fact that the Coolray Sport's price is higher by about 430,000 pesos, that should be expected. The advantage of the Tiggo 2, aside from the lower price, is the 10-year, 1 million kilometer warranty. Vitara. The Vitara sells between 1,038,000 pesos and 1,158,000 pesos. So it's also significantly more expensive than the Tiggo 2. The advantage of the Vitara is that it has a bigger 10-inch screen and it has a panoramic sunroof. Again, the advantage of the Tiggo 2 is a much lower price and a 10-year, 1 million kilometer powertrain warranty. Ford Ecosport. Like the others in this list, the Ecosport is also significantly more expensive. The cheapest automatic variant of the Ecosport sells for 1,030,000 pesos, and the top of the line sells for 1.1 million. The top of the line Ecosport Titanium has a sunroof. I prefer the tailgate of the Tiggo 2 though, which opens upwards, over the Ecosport's tailgate which opens sideways. I think the interior of the Ecosport looks just a bit nicer, but only by a bit. Overall, while some of its competitors may have advantages when it comes to features, the price of the Tiggo 2 and its warranty make it a pretty compelling argument. Chery has improved a lot since the Chery QQ of the early 2010s. They now have a new local distributor, and their product line has improved a lot. The Tiggo 2 is affordable, but it doesn't feel cheap. It is pretty well equipped for the price. It also looks pretty good, both on the inside and the outside. If you're apprehensive about buying a Chinese brand because you're unsure about its reliability, then Chery's 10-year, 1 million kilometer powertrain warranty should help make your decision-making process a lot easier.